Good morning, guys. It is a lovely Saturday and I'm kicking off a week in my life reading vlog. So I'm going to try to tackle 5 books hopefully this week. That's a little bit, I usually read about 3 books in a week, so it's definitely a little more ambitious, but I'm hoping this vlog will give me the motivation. So we're going to start off with a book haul, which is almost all from the library, and then we're going to pick out some selections. I'm planning on choosing a variety because I am a mood reader. For my book of the month pick, I definitely want to read this for this vlog. I picked Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. I talked about this in my new thriller release video earlier this year. I'll link it above if you haven't seen it, but I absolutely am so excited to read this. It involves several foster children. You're reading from their perspectives as they revisit their foster home, which they don't have very fond memories of because of the woman who ran it, Miss Fairchild. She had a lot of secrets. She didn't sound like a very nice person, and they're being called back because there's bones that are found underneath the home. So I'm very curious. The premise sounded absolutely fascinating. It looks nice and like spring and summery with this pool, and I usually love book of the month thrillers, so we're hoping this one's a good one. One of the cozy mysteries I picked up that I'm really excited for is the second in the Cat in the Stacks mystery series by Miranda James. This is called Classified as Murder. If you see this, I'm just blocking my library's name because it has my town's name in it, so just for privacy reasons. But I loved this. I read it the first book in the series for my pet sitting vlog last month. I'll link it above if you want to check it out, as well as the reading wrap up. Loved book 1. It takes place in Athena, Mississippi. We have our main character, and he is a really friendly guy. He does like book archiving. He's a librarian, Charlie, and his cat, his Maine Coon cat Diesel, he likes to walk around on a leash. And in this one, he's being asked to look at this person's collection because they think something's missing, and then that person is actually murdered. So I'm really excited for this. I love a good cozy mystery and ones with like animals involved especially, so I'm excited for this. I'm really excited for this next one. I requested it from my library because they never got it in. It was a new release, I think, last fall, and this is by Nicole Hackett. It's called The Perfect Ones, and this one involves social media influencers in Iceland. So this one kind of centers around 3 influencers. They arrive in Iceland for a promotional trip, and one of them, named Alabama, disappears after like 2 days there. So the police get involved and they look into the other 2 influencers, one whose name is Celeste, and she is burning out. She's got like a 5-year-old. She's got a lot of like issues at home. It sounds like her kid might have some behavioral issues that are taking up a lot of her time. She might be having some issues with her husband, and she's been coping in ways that only Alabama knows about. The other influencer, Holly, seems to have it all together. She's got like the perfect life, the perfect body, the perfect husband, the perfect career, but she feels isolated behind screens, and she's also been coping with something through Alabama. So they kind of are linked to this missing influencer. That's what the premise for this is. I'm very excited. I think Iceland sounds like a really fun setting, and I really love this cover. It's really like just like distorted, and it just really gives me like an uneasy look looking at it, so I'm really excited for that. Another very chilling thriller is Cold to the Touch by Kari Hakoda. I talked about this as well in my thriller release video. This one involves a detective who is called to the scene of a murder, and they recognize the person who's murdered as the barista, and they decide to hunt this person down because they're just really distraught. This was the person they saw every day when they were getting their coffee. They had a connection with them. They're really like heartbroken over it. Unfortunately, scavengers have damaged the person's body, so it's hard to collect evidence, but a second body is shortly after found, and another after that, and there's a serial killer on the loose. The FBI are involved. There's some kind of spree killer basically, and that's kind of the premise for this. I'm not as big on like detective or police thrillers usually, but this one just sounded really interesting, so I'm excited for this. This one looks so funny, and it's giving me Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice from Murderers vibes, which I loved. It was one of my favorite reads last year, and that is Nosy Neighbors by Freya Sampson. Look at this cover. Is that not, like, it gives me the same vibes because they're peeking through a window just like Vera was like peeking through the blinds on the cover. I am so excited for this. So this one, we have kind of 2 primary characters. We have Dorothy, who's in her 70s, and she's a very cantankerous person. She's lived in this historic building like her whole life. She knows everything about it. And we also have Kat, who's about 25 years old, and she's a more recent resident, but despite these ladies both being kind of standoffish and in their own lane, they come together because the historic building is being threatened, like they might be like getting it torn down, and they decide to save their home together. However, someone else decides not to play fair. Some kind of murder or something happens, and it takes it up a notch, and I'm so excited for this. I love older sleuths in general because I feel like there's just like this wit and wisdom that comes through with their characters that I love, but I love the fact that we're having two characters who have almost like 50 years apart. I feel like that's going to make such an interesting duo for sleuthing. I absolutely love it. I can't wait. Let me know if you've read this. I think I'm going to have to pick this for this vlog. It just sounds too good. It sounds too good. Another one I'm strongly considering is The Vacancy in Room 10 by Serafina Nova Glass. I talked about this as well in my thriller release video. And basically, we have our main character, Anna Hartley, and she gets this call from her husband who's desperately telling her this horrible secret. And she actually thinks it's a joke. She's like, there's no way. But then his body is found later washed up like on shore, and she dives into his life, and she's shocked to find out that this place called the Sycamores, which is like a run-down motel turned studio that her husband worked at, because he's like this very mellow artist. He's like a very chill guy. Didn't have any secrets in his closet, at least that she didn't know about, but she decides to do some sleuthing, and she gets involved interviewing the people at the Sycamore, and some people don't really like her poking around, and that's kind of our premise, and that sounds fascinating to me. I love a good thriller or mystery with a hidden secret in like a loved one's past, because I'm absolutely horrified by the idea of that, like in real life, but for fiction it's fun to read about. And then I wanted to say a big thank you to Bethany, who very kindly sent me this off of my Amazon wishlist. This is In the Ballroom with the Candlestick. And this is by Diana Peterfriend. This is the third in the Clue mystery trilogy. It is a young adult mystery series. If you like cozy mysteries, I think you'd really enjoy this. It's very fun. It's based on the Clue board game characters, but they're reimagined as like prep school students. I'm not a big young adult reader, but I have loved the series so much. The first two books are a great time. The themes are fantastic. I just love seeing the board game brought to life. And this is the third one in the series, and it's perfect timing, because it actually takes place during or around like prom season, which as far as I know is always in like the springtime, so right about this time of year. So I'm so excited. So thank you very much, Bethany. Cannot wait to read that. Next, I have a psychological thriller that has an interesting trope to it. It's called Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh, and this is the cover here. This is quite interesting. So we have two women who basically meet in a bar, and they're like commiserating over these terrible men in their life, and they decide, if kill for me, kill for you. Like, it sounds like they kind of make a pact to maybe take out someone in the other person's life, is kind of what I got from the summary. And then at the same time, we have this other timeline where a woman is at home with her husband, and a home invader breaks in, murders her husband, and all she can remember is his like bright blue eyes. And somehow these storylines intertwine. I have no idea how. I'm really intrigued by that, but I'm like, how do you make a pact like that in a bar with a random person? I have no idea, but I'm curious to see how it's going to be pulled off. So that's this one. A cozy mystery I can't wait for. I've been on hold for this for months, and I finally got it. And it's A Midnight Puzzle by Gigi Pandian. This is the third in the Secret Staircase mystery series. I love this series. The first book was pretty good. It wasn't an all-time favorite, but then book 2, The Raven Thief, oh my goodness, it was amazing. If you liked locked room mysteries, all of the ones in this series are locked room. Our main character in this is Tempest, and she is like an ex-Las Vegas magician, like a performer, which is the coolest like theme or like trope for like a cozy mystery. I love the theme for that so much, and her family ties are beautiful. There's also like an ongoing kind of family subplot that I've really been enjoying, so definitely read this one in order. I would recommend. It's a cozy mystery series where I think you'll miss a lot if you really jump around. And she's got Scottish and Indian heritage, so there's a lot of interesting like foods and things that are prepared that I like love hearing about. Absolutely delicious. Her grandfather is one of my favorite characters. But in this one, basically one of the families, so the family business is this like construction business that makes like secret staircases and rooms and like just anything out of a Scooby-Doo movie, like mansion basically, which I love. And one of their former clients, Julian, actually blames and is like gonna sue the family business because he tries to kill his wife and it fails, and then he blames the construction, which terrible. But he calls Tempest one night and asks her to meet him somewhere. She goes to meet him and finds him dead. And so she is on the run trying to sleuth and find out what happened, because she's not going to wait around for the police to prove her family's innocence. Very excited. everything. I mean, there's just so many great themes here. Her, like, the magic that's wove through everything. There's always some kind of magician, secret staircase, like, kind of things that are wove into the story. I love her as a character. I love her family and her family ties. I love her family's history and story and the subplot we go through, and the fact that there's always a locked room element. Oh, I love it. Cannot wait for this. We have 2 more, and then we're going to pick our selections. The last 2 are She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica, another one of my most anticipated thriller releases. This one, very interesting. So our main character is Megan, and she is a nurse and also a single mother to a teenage daughter. She's really trying to balance life, but she's struggling with it, and one night she's working at the hospital when this young woman comes in, and she is in like a coma. She has like a really bad brain injury because she jumped off of a bridge, and like she's lucky to be alive basically. But what is very concerning, I mean that's already concerning in itself, but what is even more concerning is that a stranger comes forward claiming that there was more to the person's fall than what meets the eyes, basically implying that someone pushed her or set her up to fall or something, like it wasn't her willingly jumping. So Megan, even though she's a nurse and she's been professionally taught to like detach from her patients to a certain degree, she gets involved in trying to solve this young woman's fall, like what actually happened. So I'm really excited for that. That's just like a very interesting premise to me. And then last but not least, and this one is a strong contender, it's Everyone Is Watching by Heather Goodenkoff, and this one involves like a competition setting, and you guys know I'm an apps. Like, I love competitions, whether it's a baking competition in a cozy, like a high stakes reality TV competition in a thriller, whatever. I love a good competition. And this one has the best friend, the confidant, the senator, the boyfriend, and the executive. There are 5 contestants. They've all been chosen to compete for $10 million in a game show. So this is described as a twisty locked room mystery. Again, I love to locked room mystery or thriller, and these contestants have no idea what to expect. They're all locked in this like mansion in the California home, and they have zero contact with the outside world. They're cut off, they're isolated. They don't even know what the game show is about, like what they're competing for. And as the game progresses, it's clear that they're there for more than just a game. So, picking our reads, this one's gotta be included. I mean, I love a competition. So we're gonna do Everyone Is Watching. We're definitely going to do Darling Girls because that just came out for Book of the Month. Let me know if you also do Book of the Month and what you picked. We're definitely doing Nosy Neighbors because this is just like the most fun premise. I'm not sure if it's technically a cozy mystery. I'm going to put it on screen. I'll look at Goodreads and see how people are classifying it. To me, it looks like a cozy mystery. I mean, just the vibe that I'm getting from the cover and the description, but I will confirm that and put it on screen. So that one. Then we're gonna do A Midnight Puzzle because I have been waiting for this. Like, these are some of my most anticipated releases for the first half of 2024. So we're gonna see if they're 5-star predictions and they turn out to be 5 stars. Hopefully, let's cross our fingers here. Okay, and then I think we'll do The Vacancy in Room 10 just because this sounds really interesting. I love a twisty psychological thriller, so that's what we're gonna be reading. So just to go over that real quick, we have Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth, Everyone Is Watching by Heather Goodenkoff, Nosy Neighbors by Freya Sampson, Midnight Puzzle by Gigi Pandian, and The Vacancy in Room 10 by Serafina Novaglass. How beautiful of a name is Serafina, by the way. I love that name. It's so beautiful. So we're gonna try to read these all in one week. We're gonna do our very best. I'm planning on making some chocolate chip cookies later, so let's bake those together. But I think we're gonna go ahead and start with Darling Girls and Nosy Neighbors, I think. next morning. I didn't feel super up to vlogging last night. I just was kind of burnt out. So I did a bunch of reading and I'm gonna get ready with you guys this morning and we have some updates. And oh my goodness, is this vlog kicking off with a strong start. So I have updates on Nosy Neighbors, which I am 2/3 of the way through, and Darling Girls, which I finished. Both of these are very good. And okay, let's start with Darling Girls since I finished that. For reference, if you're following my makeup, I already put on my moisturizer and did my eyebrows, but otherwise we're just gonna go ahead and put some stuff on. So let's start with some eyeshadow. So Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth. Wow, I could barely put this down. The 3 points of views that you're reading from are fascinating, and you're also reading from a like psychiatrist's office as well, and you don't know who the character is that's talking to the psychiatrist, so there's some like intrigue there. I loved the camaraderie between these 3 women who are like foster sisters. They are all like interesting, fleshed out characters. They all kind of dealt with the trauma they went through in different ways, so it's very interesting to see different personalities and how they respond to that. And I really like how that's highlighted, that people go through stress and trauma and things like that in different ways. People respond to it differently. I'd say my favorite character was Jessica because she was one of the foster daughters, and I found her probably the most relatable because she's a very like type A, organized, kind of like looks like she has it together but is kind of falling apart internally, which is kind of more like the pattern I would follow in general if I was going through a rough time. So I really enjoyed following her story. The twists and turns that this plot had, I was visibly shocked at multiple points in the story. It's definitely very fun. It's very twisty. There's definitely like little twists and turns throughout the whole story, so I feel like I was really engaged with it. I never was bored. I enjoyed reading about the other 2 foster sisters as well. I thought they had interesting stories. I appreciate that the author took the time to really wrap up the characters at the end. Like, we really got an idea of where everybody that we like really grew close to and like watched closely throughout the story, like what happened to them after the plot line and stuff, like, you know, came together. I really love it and appreciate it, especially with thrillers, because I feel like sometimes we get a thriller and then they just kind of like boom bang, the plot thing happens, the twist happens, and then we end up without any closure on what happens to the characters, and I really like that closure personally. So yeah, final thoughts. I think it's a 5-star thriller for me. I flew through it. The more I think about it, the more I like it. And if you've read this book, the final chapter, I didn't see like, wow, like that left me with something to think about. I really didn't see any of that coming. It was very, very interesting. So I really recommend this if you like kind of like a family psychological thriller, if you like thrillers that go back and forth where you're reading from different timelines, like you're reading the present points of views from these foster children, but then you're also reading their story in the past and like when they were actually still children and at the foster home. So you get to see those events transpire, and then you also have this interesting sideline with the psychiatrist office and trying to figure out who is in the office talking with the psychiatrist. And wow, that was wow. So yeah, we're off to a very strong start. I'm almost worried because the next one I'm going to tell you about I love so much as well that I'm like, are these other books I'm going to start after going to live up to these 2? Because they're going really, really well. Overall, this was definitely an excellent thriller for me. I wholeheartedly enjoy it. I definitely recommend it if this sounds like something that would be up your boat. Definitely try that. And then Nosy Neighbors. I started this after Darling Girls last night before bed. I was only going to read like 100 pages. I am 250 pages into this because I couldn't put it down. I had to it was only until like my melatonin and like the sleepy time like tea I drank like kicked in so hard that I physically couldn't keep my eyes open anymore that I put this book down. So I think that's a pretty good endorsement. I will give you, of course, a final update on this, but so far, you know, I'm over 2/3 of the way into the book. It's about 350 pages in total, so I have about 100 pages left. I'm gonna finish it today for sure. If you like Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice from Murderers, if you like Auntie Lee's Delights, if you like the Senior Sleuths series by Lauren Berenson, I would check this out because it has very like similar charming vibes. Dorothy is a 77-year-old woman. She's very isolated. She's lived in the Shelley house like building her whole life basically, and she doesn't really converse with the other residents, but she's very nosy. She watches them. She like tracks things in her diaries, like comings and goings and stuff like that. And then we have Kat, who is pink-haired, 25, tattooed, who Dorothy immediately takes a dislike to just because they're both kind of standoffish people, and Kat doesn't quite look like her type of person. She kind of judges her based on how she looks and stuff like that. Both of them have these rich backstories. This is a book, it's a mystery, yes, but it is more than that. It is a book about the importance and the coming together of community and neighbors, which is beautiful in itself. It's a book about past mistakes and regrets in life and moving forward from them. Oh my, I was tearing up at multiple points during this book because the storylines were are so impactful. I was just overcome emotionally with some of the storylines that both of these characters are going through. We're exploring their past, and now they're, you know, united on one front of trying to figure out what happened to one of the residents in the building, and also trying to stop this eviction that they're both facing because the building they're in is this really old historic building. It's very dilapidated, and it's under threat of being torn down and built into like a bunch of new apartment complexes. And it's like everything I want in a cozy read and more. Like, this is a very strong contender for one of my favorite cozy reads of the year. And I know we're in April right now. I know that. But this is giving me such, like, it was just like an immediate charming, like I was so drawn in. Like I told you, I was going to read, you know, maybe 100 pages or so because I was thinking, okay, let me read 100 pages before bed. That'll give me time to, you know, unwind, and then I can give you an update with the thriller in the morning. That was my thinking, and then I got to 250 pages before I finally like gave in to sleep because I was so tired. So it truly drew me in, and I'm intrigued in the mystery. I don't really know where it's going. I don't have a good guess as of right now. But more than that, I just want to see these characters and their storylines. It's very, very character driven. I actually equally like both characters, which I think says a lot because I feel like sometimes you read a book that takes place where you're following two different characters and maybe you strongly prefer one over the other. But I really love both Dorothy and Kat. I'm maybe a little softer towards Dorothy because she's just hilarious. She's got this like natural wit about her. She's very much like, you know, this is me, deal with it kind of a person, and it makes for a lot of like natural comedy in the book. Also, if you are somebody who likes like animals in your stories, this dog here is named as Reggie, and he is the dog in the apartment building that Kat is subletting from. And he will just steal your heart. Absolutely, that dog will steal your heart. He is like the sweetest little thing. I just want to hug him so badly. There's so many heartwarming moments with this dog, and again, just the sense of community. What I found interesting is it said that the author in her bio that she has worked on like documentaries, and one of the documentary topics that was mentioned was that she like interviewed apartment like horror stories, and I feel like that probably gave her some great fodder for this. Like, you can tell she really did her research. Like, it feels very realistic. It feels like real people. I love seeing the community aspect. I'm intrigued at what exactly is going to be the conclusion for this. I really have no idea right now. Like the who and stuff. Like, we kind of have like a common enemy in the person who's, you know, actually actively like, you know, putting in the orders and stuff for things to be torn down at the building, but like I don't know who, like the who behind some of the drama is. Woke up a bit tired this morning, probably because I stayed up an extra hour or so reading than I had anticipated. So I always throw on some red lipstick or something like that to give me a little boost. So that is the final look. We're just gonna throw on some earrings. How cute are these? And they match the colors of this like Haunted Mansion sweatshirt so well. So it's like the purple and the blue and like just kind of has the same, I don't know, kind of like vibe to it. So I love that. But yeah, I'm so excited with how this is going. We're gonna go ahead and bake some cookies and bake that bread today. I'm very excited. The smell of fresh bread, oh my goodness, it's just like that. It's like the best smell in the world. And we're gonna make some chocolate chip cookies because, like I said, I could use some sugar right now. I'm not a big caffeine drinker, it makes me jittery, but I could use some sugar to give me a boost right now. All right, that is the final look. I think it turned out pretty well. I always love a good pop of color on the lips. I'm gonna go ahead and pull my hair back for the purposes of baking, but we're gonna go ahead and get some baking done, and then we're gonna read some more of Nosy Neighbors, finish that off, and then I'm planning on starting the vacancy in room 10 because I'm just especially excited for that. Something about that sounds really good right now, and it also is a shorter thriller, and both of these were a bit longer, so I think it'll just keep the momentum going. I'm hoping the other 3 books in this, which I'm very much anticipating being good reads, live up to this because we're starting off so strong that it's almost like, oh boy, that these other ones, we're gonna see. We're gonna see, but this one, wow. Hi guys, I just finished Nosy Neighbors. My heart is not okay. This was so charming. I absolutely adored these characters so much. Dorothy just broke my heart in so many ways. So did Kat. I think both of them were just amazing characters. I actually did end up tearing up quite badly at one point in this like last part of the book. It was just so emotionally intense. What I will say though is if you are a big mystery lover like me, this is definitely a more cozy read with a mystery secondary. Like it's definitely a mystery, but there isn't It's not as aggressive, especially in the like latter half of the book. It's more about the characters and their subplots and their emotions and like the community and the past mistakes and stuff like that. So the mystery is still there. It's still like a mystery, but it's definitely like a cozy read kind of first and foremost. So keep that in mind if you're looking for like a really heart-pounding murder mystery novel. This isn't it, but if you're looking for something that's cozy, that's going to pull at your heartstrings, that has a compelling storyline and great characters and it's very charming and just lovely and feels like a warm hug, but still is deep enough where you're getting that substance and that just like pulling at your heartstrings, like I said, this is a great book. So I really love this. This has got to be like, I think it's gotta be like a 5 stars. If I was rating this as a mystery, it would be more like 4 stars, just because like I said, it's not as mystery heavy. There's definitely some sleuthing for sure, but it's more about that community aspect. So, but rating this on its own is like just a novel, like a fiction, cozy read at 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I do think if you liked Vera Wong, I think this would be a good one. It's a little less heavy on the mystery, but like if you like the vibe of that and the found family and the community aspects and just that kind of tone to the book, I think you'll really love this. This was excellent. This just came out in April this month, so it's a very new release. I hadn't heard of it, but I just saw it on my library's website and was like, that sounds cool, that looks good. It looks like something I'd enjoy. Hi guys, it's Monday. I've been pretty busy working today, but I have had some time to read and I did some reading last night, so I have a pretty big update for you. And unfortunately at DNF, I'm throwing in the towel on this one, and that is The Vacancy in Room 10. I'm really surprised by this. So I started it last night before bed. I read about 60 pages and I'm giving up at 88 pages in. I'm just not feeling super excited by this one. I think part of it is it's a very like heavy, grisly feeling thriller, lots and lots of unsavory people. It doesn't really have, I like kind of like a fun, I guess, edge to a thriller where like a reality TV show, a competition, something like that can really make it fun, or a fun setting. But this one just kind of feels like heavy across the board. Like it just kind of feels like it's weighing me down. It's kind of hard to get through. I also feel like a lot hasn't really happened in terms of the actual plot. Like we've had the wife and she's moved into the room, you know, the room 10, to kind of explore what happens to her husband. We've learned a little bit about him and that he, you know, wasn't telling his wife everything, obviously, but not a whole lot has really come out, and I'm just not feeling that engaged with it. So unfortunately I'm gonna DNF it. It just wasn't for me. I am curious if you've read this, what were your thoughts on it? Even if they're really different from mine, I would love to hear it. I looked up on Goodreads, it has a really strong rating. It was like 4 some stars, so I might be in the minority here, but I'm just not really enjoying it, so I'm gonna put it aside. But what I did pick up, I thought, what better to pick up than a very like kind of fun themed thriller, which is Everyone Is Watching, because it's a reality TV competition. I was like, okay, that sounds really fun. I'm loving this. I, on my lunch break, have consumed 216 pages. and then another short break I took this afternoon. I've been eating this alive. It's definitely a very fast-paced, quick read. I am so enjoying this. You're reading from multiple people's perspectives. You're reading from the assistant. Her name is Fern. She is the like assistant and like kind of person who's helping like throw the show, and then we're reading from contestants in the show, not every single one of them, but I am really enjoying this. And there's also been kind of a past timeline that's being brought in that I'm very intrigued by. This is really fun. I love how the blurb calls it. It says Big Brother meets Clue in this utterly original and incredibly tense locked room mystery. This really is a mystery as well. So even if you're not the biggest thriller reader, if you like a mystery, you might also really enjoy this because it really has strong mystery elements. It does feel like Clue. Everyone's trapped in this extravagant mansion with like fabulous, like there's like a giant pool, there's like a maze, like there's all these like very fun, you know, game show kind of elements that I'm just loving. Each of the characters has some kind of reason that they're brought to this game, and that's kind of what we're exploring as we read on. And it's a high stakes game, so I'm really enjoying this. I'm anticipating finishing this possibly before bed, and then I'm going to start the midnight puzzle, which I'm so excited for. I think that'll end us on a strong note, hopefully, but this is going really well. So that is the update right now. So unfortunately, a DNF on The Vacancy in Room 10. I don't know, if you've read anything by this author that you've really enjoyed, let me know. Maybe I'll try one of her other books, because I could tell the writing was very strong. It was very methodical. Like, it feels like it was building towards a great twist or something. It was just a little too grisly for me. I'm not sure. So let me know your thoughts if you've read her work before. But so far, I'm loving this. I'm really excited to see what the reveal is for this, because so far I have not put together the mystery. I put together like little bits and pieces, but I do not really have a strong idea of like the big mystery for everything. So I'm really excited to see how this ends. I just finished this and I loved this. This was so fun. It was so entertaining. There wasn't like one part of this entire book that lagged. It was thrilling from the start, thrilling to the end, and the last sentence of this book. Yes. 100 million times over. Yes, I am so excited. I loved the ending for this. I loved the like winner per se of the game. I loved the reason behind I loved everything about this. I put together a few things, but most things I really didn't put together. I was really just impressed with this. I have not read anything from this author before, but I will definitely be checking out more from them. This was absolutely incredible. The writing was fun, it was fast-paced, it was thrilling, it was just satisfying. This was just such a fun, wild, crazy, satisfying sort of thriller. It'll definitely have you on the edge of your seat. I could not recommend this more. If you think this sounds interesting, really, really fun. Definitely a great pick, whether you like thrillers or mysteries, because it really has both elements to the fullest. There's amazing, lots of interesting subplots and mysteries as you're trying to figure out the contestants and their secrets and why this game has been put together and what connects them and all these things. There's so many mystery elements, but then it's so thrilling because the stakes of the game itself are so high. I couldn't recommend this more. I absolutely loved this. This was a 5-star thriller for me. Easy, hands down. I loved this. I can't wait to pick up more books from this author. It looks like she wrote The Overnight Guest. She was the best-selling author of that. I will be checking that out. Let me know if you've read anything by this author, if you liked it, if you have recommendations, give them to me. I would love that, but this was amazing. Alright guys, final update for this vlog. I sped through A Midnight Puzzle by Gigi Pandian, and I'm wondering, please let me know if you know the answer to this. Is this the last book? Is it only going to be a trilogy? Because just the opening prologue kind of made me feel like it was a trilogy, and I was like, I don't want it to be over. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to find out. But let me know if you know anything about this. But my review for this, short and sweet, 4.5 stars, excellent read. I love a good locked room mystery. This delivered on that. It delivered on a lot of the family secrets and subplots. I love Tempest as a character. The stage magician background is just so fascinating, paired with her knowledge of construction from her family's business, and just the way everything was set up was so clever. Really, the less I say, the better, but I so enjoyed this. I really recommend the series as a whole. It's really fun. Like I said before, the first book in the series was good, but it really got amazing with book 2, The Raven Thief, and this one continued that trend, so I'm hoping there'll be more. And overall, I'm just really excited about this reading vlog. I mean, besides the vacancy in room 10, I really enjoyed all of these. These were excellent reads, so thank you guys so much for joining me. I hope you had fun. Please let me know down below, what are you reading? And if you aren't already, I hope you'll hit subscribe. I do post new mystery and thriller content every week on my channel, so if you like anything in the mystery genre, whether it's cozy mysteries, murder mysteries, thrillers, I talk about it here. Again, my name is Amy Marie. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you guys in my next cozy vlog. Bye!